Wait, did women start getting medical care because we started to like be annoying to like
Yes.
husbands?
Correct.
Is that what happened?
That is what happened.
That's what. Wow.
Yeah.
We need to be more insufferable,
Yeah.
bitches. Let's fucking get it together.
Once we started living long enough that women were experiencing menopause, men were like, she sucks now. We gotta invent some medication for this.
If you're a straight woman married to a man, I need you to be worse. I need you to be more insufferable so we'll get medical care.
Yeah, Nazis are pretty f***ing gay.
Yeah.
Lady and the Trans podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science. Science will solve all the problems. That's the trans agenda.
Trans people in science gonna save the day.
Solve the problems with us. With science. Science, bitch.
To my trans agenda, I'm returning trans.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
It is a brand new episode of the Lady and the Trans podcast.
Lady and the Trans podcast.
And I am a lady named Chloe.
And I'm a lady named Laura.
And today, as you know from the title, we are talking about the history of HRT.
Yes, we are.
So I'm going to basically walk through this, but I'm going to start with the history of HRT as a medication, why it was invented, who it was for, and then talk a little bit about when it started being used for trans women, because surprise, surprise, it was not originally for trans people. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I am going to lead into when hormones started being used as treatment for kids. I don't know if that is going to be in this episode. That might be in a part 2. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's roughly the structure of how this is going to go.
Also, what was the book? Because it was one book you got most of this information from, right?
It was one book and one podcast, largely.
Okay, yeah.
The book is called The History of Transgender Medicine.
Yes.
It's a giant book. It
It's
came out
huge.
in like 2022, 2023, one of those.
Yeah.
And it features a lot of like modern evidence, modern research, modern thinkers. Trans people wrote some of the chapters, but it's all like very well researched, tons and tons of sources cited. If I like wanted to find the original source of any one of these pieces of information, it would be easy to find. And then also, especially when I get to the trans kids section, it's a combination of stuff from this book, outside research that I did, and this New York Times podcast called The Protocol that they put out specifically as like a fear-mongering tactic to try to like convince people that actually it's bad to let kids transition. But a lot of the information they included in it is like not that.
Yeah.
At least the first episode. And then the later episodes after that are like, but actually.
Yeah, here's some propaganda that isn't real, yeah.
And I'll talk about all of that when we get to it as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We'll leave a link to the book in the description.
Yes,
I think that
a
would be
link to
cool
the
for
book.
people that want to read it. Yeah.
Yep. We'll at least reference the title of the podcast, which is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yep.
And yeah, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment.
Yes.
Follow our Patreon.
Follow our Patreon. We have a Patreon out.
We have a Patreon.
Yes.
Where we have random tangential conversations. It's like behind the scenes stuff. We just put out a Get Ready With Me.
Yes, we just did one today. For a lot of you were requesting that. We do Magic the Gathering games.
Yeah, we play games of Magic.
Yes.
Get Ready With Me's conversations, bloopers, just like us. If you like us.
Yeah.
And we might eventually start doing like full exclusive episodes. For right now, we're releasing like at least sections of the episodes on the main feed, which I'm sure you've seen. But are we ready to get into it? Do we have anything else we need to say before we get started?
I think that's about it. Let's get into it.
All right. So, why do you think we originally created hormone therapy?
Because people had imbalanced hormones is what I would guess.
No. This was before science knew about imbalanced hormones.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
I mean,
we created...
Arguably, that is what it's for. But it was specifically developed as a treatment for women experiencing menopause. This is in the 1880s.
I mean, that checks out. So, wait.
That is technically a hormone imbalance because your hormones are just like suddenly turned off.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I would imagine, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, your hormones are imbalanced. You should have a little HRT." You know, it's
Yeah.
not like nowadays what it's for, which is like, "Oh yeah, everyone kind of might have a slight hormone imbalance, and if you get
People
your
might
levels
go
right."
through it and then it go away too. Like I've
Totally.
definitely had mine change over time, but like when I was a teenager and my menstrual cycle was fucking me up, like I probably needed HRT because I was getting too much of some shit, not enough of others. Like I know I was, because I was not good.
Yeah. So they originally tested estrogen extracted from bovine ovarian tissue.
Okay.
So they just pulled, basically, they weren't able to extract just the estrogen.
Okay.
So they were literally just taking like a sample out of cow ovaries and like giving it to women and just to like
Oh.
see if it would work. They were like doing full on experiments.
I'm so glad I didn't live through the experimental medicine times where people didn't know how to do surgeries or like,
Yeah.
you know, everything was an experiment. Oh,
Yes.
sounds like a nightmare.
Yes. But even though it was just an experiment, it worked. Like it totally cured the symptoms of menopause.
Oh,
and
thank
people
God.
were like, "Oh, it's a miracle drug."
Oh, so it was better than when you get gangrene and they're like, well, we gotta amputate your whole leg now. Like,
Yeah. But again, this is 1886. So there was probably
okay, there was some
there
advancements.
was probably centuries of that.
I missed the year that
Prior-
you were in.
prior
Yeah,
to this
I would
happening.
hope so. Yeah, that checks out.
And then 3 years later, in 1889, Dr. Charles Edward Brown Sacard was doing experiments on himself with testosterone that he extracted from guinea pig and dog testicles.
Interesting. Okay.
And he claimed that he had rejuvenated himself, and thus HRT for cis people is born in 1889.
Hell yeah.
In the 1890s, there was a pharmaceutical company called Merck and Company, which was originally founded in the 1600s as like just a pharmacy, and then they started developing their own drugs when they perfected the process to create morphine.
Okay.
So once they basically were like, we slap a patent on morphine, we're the ones who can make it, then they became a pharmaceutical empire that still exists today.
Yeah. So that started with morphine.
Theirs did. Yeah. I
Oh,
don't
wow.
know that there might have been other,
Like empires already going into pharmaceutical.
I'm sure
Yeah.
there were other drug manufacturers before Merck and
Yeah,
Company.
that
But this
checks out.
specific one, after they released morphine, their next big product was introducing cocaine as a sinus treatment and energy booster.
Which is wild because as somebody who used to have a coke problem, it definitely makes your sinuses worse.
Yeah, it's like a temporary fix and then long-term worse. So then you have to keep taking it to try to
Yeah.
fix the problem. It's one of those addiction cycles.
So I know there's a lot of history with us using cocaine for like different things, and I really think because people would like try it and be like, "This is great," they'd be like, "We have to figure out how to make this medical." I feel like that was the whole logic behind that because they were putting it in
Guaranteed, yeah.
Coca-Cola at one point.
Literally- oh, yeah.
I know dentists used to use it because it numbs your like your mouth, like you know what I mean. They were trying so hard
Yeah.
to be like, "This feels great, let's make it work." It's the most cokehead fucking thing I've ever heard. Like.
Yeah, it is the idea someone would have if they're like on coke.
Don't do cocaine. It's not a good idea. And
I-
it can kill you now because, you know,
Oh, yeah.
fentanyl
Oh, yeah.
cross
I mean,
contamination.
it could always kill you.
It could kill
It's
you
just-
anyways, but it's so much worse now with
Yes,
cross contamination
yes.
of fent. Yeah.
Yep. So this drug company, they started selling a drug called Overin, which was a treatment for menopause symptoms. It was sold in powdered form and pill form and was made from cow ovaries. They, again, sort of perfected this process after the experiments. Naturally, of course, there were trans people at the time, and some of them would like gain access to it and self-medicate using it.
Yeah, that checks out.
There were not really doctors prescribing it, but as soon as the people who knew they were trans at the time were like, wait, I can just take estrogen. And it
I-
makes people who are no longer feminine feel more feminine. That seems like something that would be
Yeah.
good for me.
I wonder if there were a lot of closeted trans people around this time that like they weren't out, they were still presenting male that were just taking the hormones.
Yeah, there absolutely were.
And maybe like the trans guys were like hella shaving their beards or like, you know, and still dressing as women, like just so they could feel physically better, even if they weren't presenting. I bet that was a big thing that we don't know about.
Guarantee it was.
Yeah.
Man, now I want to have. I didn't write down this story, but there was specifically a story in the book about a guy who came over to the United States in like the 1600s. So this is like before it's even America, it's still just colonies. And I hesitate to even use the word guy because this was an intersex person and they had both, they had external genital
Yeah.
differences. They basically were like gender fluid in that like some
Okay.
days they would go around town dressed as a man, some days they would go around town dressed as a woman.
Oh, okay.
And it freaked the fucking settlers out. They were like, what are you? Like, what's going on with you? And there became this like scandal where this person was accused of having sex with like the governor's maid, which if they were a man was a crime, but if they were a woman wasn't.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have to figure out what's going on with you. So like they basically would go into this person's house late at night, like specifically some women originally did it. And we're like, we just need to know what you like. We need to see your genitals.
And they were intersex.
They were
So-
intersex.
Oh.
And
were
they-
they assigned? What were they assigned at birth? Do you know?
I believe they were assigned male. I think if you presented
Okay.
any amount of maleness, they were just like male
Okay.
back in the day. And I think everyone sort of assumed they were a guy, which is why I started with guy.
Yeah.
But then they would just like be a woman some days. And they were happy to switch back and forth. Like they truly were just like, I feel like both. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
both. And people in the 1600s were not about that. So they brought this court case. And so they have to, in front of the whole town in the court, take off their pants
It's so
to reveal their genitals.
fucking weird.
So that the town can conclude, yes, you do in fact have both. And therefore, and they had a special law. They wrote a special law just for this person that they had to exclusively dress in both masculine and feminine clothing at all times.
And what year was this? This is the 1800s?
This is the 1600s.
How?
This is like an
Then how did they
early
do
settler.
both?
So they had to just mix the clothing. And there was an official law written specifically for this one person. You have to dress as a man and a woman at all times
How did
because
you
you're
even do
both.
that at the time? Because it was like very different. Like
I don't
it
know.
wasn't like now where you can kind of do like
I know.
mascot girl clothes and like vice versa.
Yeah,
What?
I truly do. It was in the book and I was like, this is, I don't know if this goes in this episode, but it's fascinating. That like
I hope that bitch had some money for like a tailor or like whatever you would even call it at the time.
Yeah,
Somebody to
they
make
had
their
to get
clothes.
special made clothes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like did the
everyone's-
government fund it or something? Like, how
Everyone's
did that work?
clothes were special made at the time,
I guess that's true too.
Everyone was.
But if you were
going to a
poor, you
tailor.
wore like a potato sack. Did you have to like make your potato sack kind of like? How do you even do that with a potato sack?
They had like clothes that would do honor to God. These are like the early settlers
I
of the United
know.
States. They're all fucking Puritans.
Colonizers and-
they're
yeah.
you're Puritan colonizers. And this one was just like, I'm kind of trans, I guess.
I think that's where like cutting off the genitals of intersex babies comes from, probably because they were probably starting to realize, oh, sometimes people are born with both, and this is going to ruin our entire thing because you have to be man or woman.
Yeah, I
and you
mean,
have to fit into that role.
we know that goes even further back because it exists in like ancient religious texts.
Oh yeah, for
talking
sure.
about like what do you do if the baby is born with both? Like it's in I can't remember the name of it, not the Torah, but the other book that they have that's like here's just a list of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it's perform a surgery on a baby.
Yeah. And there's stuff in the Bible about Jesus like being like, be nice to eunuchs, they're people, like fucking relax. So like they had all this shit going on. Anyway, so jump forward about 30 years. In the 1900s, 1923 specifically, scientists figured out how to extract just the estrogen from ovaries so that
Okay.
it's no longer just like, we clumped up a cow ovary and would you like to eat it? Like,
Ew, that's so
basically.
gross.
So they did this by studying rats and they finally figured out a process to like just do the estrogen. And the first product using this method was called Eminen. Eminen?
Not Eminem.
Not Eminem. Eminen, and it was derived from the urine of pregnant women.
Oh, okay.
So pregnant women, they would extract the
Get the
estrogen
hormones out of that.
from the pee and
Yeah.
then give it to people as a
'cause
drug
it's-
that they were probably eating.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
pretty gross.
It's pretty, yeah. It's medicine is, this is like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like
They used to do that in like the 60s and 70s for trans women. They had Premarin.
That's next. Premarin was invented in 1941.
Okay.
Because Eminin became too expensive to produce because you had to go get signed disclosures, you had to find pregnant women.
Find a pregnant bitch,
You had to get her to sell her her urine.
Yeah.
Like it was a whole process. And they were
How
like,
do you pitch that to
this
a
is a
pregnant-
pain in the ass.
Yeah.
We'll just take it from a different animal. They started using mare urine, pregnant mare urine.
Premarin. Yeah.
Literally, they just smashed the beginnings of those words together and called it the name of a drug.
Branding.
But advertisements for Premarin were naturally aimed at men because men were the ones doing all the purchasing of the drugs. So they had to sell it to the men so they would get it for their wives. So the ads would be like, eliminate all of her emotional complaints.
Yeah, I was about to say, has your wife been a bitch lately?
Yeah.
Get this horse
Yeah.
piss, okay? Premarin.
It's going to chill her the fuck
Premarin
out.
for men, for their wives, bitchy wives.
Make her feel feminine again. Restore her sex drive. Like, it was literally just like...
She'll turn into a sexy lady like a horse.
She's going to grow a mane, all right.
I just imagine the voices they use in the Ford F-150 ads, where it's just like,
It's the 1940s.
And it's just some like southern ass, like husky man.
I feel like
voice.
that shit started way later. The 1940s was like, Premarin, would you like to
Oh,
eliminate
yeah,
your
you're
wife's
right.
emotional complaints and make her feel feminine again or make her want to fuck you? You can't even say fuck in that accent. Like, it's something that, like,
yeah,
it sounds
they probably
like
didn't say
they
it as
just,
much.
it was not a word they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can eliminate her emotional complaints.
We have the solution for you.
Calm
It's
your wife the
horse piss.
fuck down. If you're not fully sold on a lobotomy, get her some pregnant mare piss.
Fully sold on a lobotomy.
Feed her
Third
this,
times, you gotta make a
yeah,
joke out of it.
feed her this piss and she'll calm right down and want to fuck you again.
I imagine that was like basically what it was.
Yeah, they weren't
just
using
didn't
those
swear.
words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they used transatlantic
Yeah.
accent words,
Yeah.
that were still just as
Exactly.
misogynistic.
So anyway, this drug was a huge hit. By 1975, it was the 5th most prescribed drug in the United States.
Oh my god. So wait, did women start getting medical care because we started to like be annoying to like
Yes.
husbands?
Correct.
Is that what happened?
That is what happened.
That's what. Wow.
Yeah.
We need to be more insufferable,
Yeah.
bitches. Let's fucking get it together.
Once we started living long enough that women were experiencing menopause, men were like, she sucks now. We gotta invent some medication for this. Or else I won't even be able to put up with her anymore.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's amazing the things you
If
learn.
you're a straight woman married to a man, I need you to be worse. I need you to be more insufferable so we'll get medical
Yeah.
care.
Yeah. We need to torture
I
men
need
more.
you to complain about your PCOS much more.
Literally.
Make up problems that you don't know exist and maybe they'll figure out what's wrong with our bodies. Like, God.
Yeah. So also in the 70s, the drug sort of takes a little nosedive in popularity because a new study comes out that shows that using estrogen, at least in this form, was showing a somewhere between 4 and 14 times increase in risk for endometrial cancer.
They were having issues with it with trans women too. Like it was giving trans women problems when they were taking it as well. I had heard about that.
Yeah. So people just stopped buying it. The drug companies freaked out. Then they realized that if you take progesterone with the estrogen, it completely cancels out the cancer risk.
Yeah. Because cis
you're
women
supposed to
naturally
have both.
produce progesterone. So,
You're supposed to have both. If you just have too much estrogen and no progesterone, you're at more risk for cancer.
You know what? I just thought of this. I don't know how correct I am. If you're in the medical field and know about this, leave a comment. But like, so right before like cis women right before our periods, or just anybody who has a period, but like specifically cis women, because we're, it's just whatever our body is producing as hormones, your progesterone skyrockets, like when your estrogen drops.
Yes.
So is progesterone kind of like a filler hormone? Is that kind of what it does, or does it like what?
It's not a filler hormone. It does different stuff than estrogen does. Like progesterone is the one that increases your sex drive. Progesterone evolutionarily speaking, specifically spikes right before your period because your body's trying to get pregnant. It's trying to convince you to go get pregnant. So it suddenly increases your sex drive, and then it starts dropping again right after your period because like it's going to be another 3 weeks. We better not fuck ourselves out.
I like that. I like that week after the period where it's just low and my estrogen's high. I
Yeah.
wish it was like that all the time.
And like I don't take as much progesterone anymore, and I like don't even have a sex drive. Like I basically have to force myself to do anything just so that I don't like experience pain every time I have sex with somebody.
Yeah.
Because being trans is wild. So, and specifically, it's supposed to like induce the release of the egg, the progesterone.
Yeah, it also, the cramps that you get, progesterone causes the contractions in your
Yes.
uterus. It's also what causes the period shits.
Yep.
That also trans women get when you get the weird shits. If you're
That's-
taking
that's
progesterone and
true.
you get the gastroenteritis, that's what that is. I know
That's
that's
exactly
the
what that is.
Yeah.
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 I've limited my progesterone intake to like
I remember
1
we
week a
talked
month.
about that. I was like, damn, your titties got bigger. And you're like, I've been taking more progesterone, but I don't know if I like it. And you explained, and I was like, that happens to me too
Yeah.
around my period because it's
Yeah.
causing the contractions
Yeah.
because your body's trying to have
And
a period. It
interestingly,
can't have.
so like I feel like maybe the medical establishment just hasn't fully figured this out yet. But like most of the trans women I know are taking progesterone daily.
Which I feel like, do you have any at all right after your period? Is that like how that
You
works
always
in
have a
cis woman?
little, but like for trans people, like they're basically telling us to take the
All the
same
time.
amount month round.
I feel like that's not
And I'm like,
correct.
I don't think that's what it's supposed to be. I think we're supposed to like choose a week to have our period, basically.
I would imagine, yeah.
But like the other thing is, if trans women are taking progesterone month long, a lot of these bitches are having a PMSing
All the time.
24/7
But this is
the
the thing.
full month.
This is the thing, though. I have met a couple of trans girls that love their progesterone.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
probably
you
makes you
wanna-
feel more feminine.
I don't like it. My boobs swell up and they hurt.
Well,
you know, like
I
that
do.
shit fucking hurt.
I love the boob growth.
My
you know?
titties always look good, but
Yeah.
they fucking hurt. So who cares? I don't give a fuck what they look like. They fucking hurt.
Well, it
Like,
feels nice when you didn't have tits for 30 years to suddenly have,
I guess that's true.
nice ballooning ones for a week, you know?
I guess that's yeah. I don't know. These have been strapped to my body since I was like 12, but like that's besides the point.
That's right. We all got different strokes for different folks,
Yeah,
you know?
But the swelling is not fun.
It's not fun, but
I
like,
think
you
I
know.
also think I produced too much progesterone right before my period.
I think you got something going on there.
and it's
yeah.
different. It's different every period now, but like I'll have some months where my boobs fucking hurt. Like it's awful.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my nipples feel like they're gonna like fall
Yeah.
off of my body if you like tug like if like it rubs on my shirt. I'm like, oh, and it just hurts. I hate it. I think I just need to see an HRT doctor, but I'm poor.
Progesterone is specifically the like prep you for a baby hormone.
Yeah. And it's stupid because I don't want a fucking baby. It's not happening. Doesn't matter how much my body complains. I ain't doing it.
Around the same time, another study comes out saying that taking estrogen orally increases your risk for a stroke or a heart attack, but that if you take it topically or through injections, that doesn't happen.
Oh.
There's also people who criticize that study because it was testing exclusively on cisgender women over the age of 60, or like the age range was like wild. So it's like maybe they were already at high risk for that. But it seemed to, compared to the control group, increase risk of stroke if they were taking it orally. And then follow-up studies were like, well, these other girls are taking it as an injection and they're not having the increased risk of stroke.
Interesting. So that's okay. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Don't they still give out estrogen pills to
Yes.
some people though?
Yes, they do. To many trans people are taking it pill form.
Oh, wow.
When I went to my doctor, she was like, yeah, I don't recommend that. Like a lot of doctors still
Really?
do it because like they're just following an old protocol, which we will talk about,
Okay.
that like is like the standards of care for how to treat trans people. Naturally, those were all invented by men.
Men.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
Now we're going to go back to the 1800s briefly and talk about the history of estrogen and HRT for trans women.
Okay.
So, new section. Do, 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 do. New section.
New section. Hey.
That's the new section song that I'll never get the same again because I won't remember it. Okay, so basically, as soon as estrogen became a publicly available medication, trans women started to gain access to it. There were very, 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 very few doctors on the planet who understood that trans people were a thing and would actually prescribe it
That
to
checks out.
people.
Yeah.
They were in Germany and I think the Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
Was like the only places that were like on the forefront of treating trans
Interesting.
people.
Germany is one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's because I have this theory because post World War II?
Well, this is pre-World War One.
Oh, this was before
This
that.
is pre-World War One.
What?
No, so the guy who was doing it was Hirschfeld, who started the Hirschfeld Clinic that was the first building the Nazis burned.
Oh my god.
He pioneered this research. He was the one who basically was like, I think we might just be able to treat him with medicine, guys. Like he was the
Yeah.
one. And then the Nazis were like, we're going to delete all the research you did.
And they burnt the
all of
yeah.
it. But specifically, Magnus Hirschfeld, he was starting to find evidence that being trans was most likely a non-visible intersex condition.
Okay.
He was like, basically, I think like your body can be the opposite, but not show any sign of it. They didn't know about DNA yet. They didn't figure that shit out for another 100
And
years.
we still don't know
We
much
still
about
don't
DNA.
really. Yeah, we're still figuring shit out all
Also,
the time.
psychology is such a new study. I really
Well, I'm gonna
believe
talk
there's
about
a
that.
psychological intersex condition that we don't know about, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like back in the day, like if you were sick
table,
physically.
Table this thought for like
Okay, I won't go on my rant.
for 10 minutes.
Okay.
'Cause you're gonna want to say
Oh,
it
this
again.
is so fun. I like when you do the nerdy research because then I just like learn the way I like to learn and
Yeah.
we have fun conversations.
Exactly.
This is fun.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
never
having a
been good
great
at
time.
homework. It's better if we do it this way. Unless I'm dragging like turfs like we just did with that last
Yeah.
episode.
So Magnus Hirschfeld believed that being trans was an intersex condition of the mind or of your genetics in a way that did not present in your physical body, in a way that was not detectable by basically just by looking.
I hope we figure this out in our lifetime because I want to know what it is because there's something there.
Yeah. We can do a separate episode about that because there's
Okay.
an entire chapter in the book that's just like, here's all the evidence we have about how it's definitely a biological thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have that for this episode, but we'll do that
Okay,
one.
cool.
We'll do that one for sure. So Hirschfeld came to the conclusion that the treatment is obviously to align the body with the mind.
Okay.
It's like, so we just have to figure out
Yeah.
how to treat these people so that their body matches what they feel they are.
yeah.
Because clearly they're feeling that way for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's
No
probably
cis people
something to
are
do with
doing
their
this.
biology.
Yeah.
So
It's a thing.
he started giving hormones to trans people and realized, oh my gosh, this makes them feel all better.
Yeah.
What a
What a
surprise.
concept. He was like probably the
Yeah.
smartest man at the time.
This is in the 1800s. This is
Yeah.
this is pre-World War One.
That man was centuries ahead of his time. God
Yeah.
bless him.
And like he's also the person who invented, like, he didn't call us trans people. Like the word he used was transvestite because that was just the word he invented.
Yeah.
Because there was no words. So like,
Yeah.
you know, people that nowadays that word means something else. But at the
Yeah.
time it literally just meant trans people.
Yeah.
So his research led to the creation and adoption of the use of hormones. And as he was talking to some other doctors in the European region, the birth of surgeries. Like, they're like, well, if we can do this much with hormones, imagine what we could do if we could actually make your body look like the gender you feel you are.
Yeah.
And so these doctors started working on inventing surgeries. The
surgeries.
bottom surgery, top surgery, all these types of surgeries.
We could have been so much further ahead
Yeah.
if Nazi Germany didn't happen.
Literally.
I didn't know this part of the I didn't know it was getting that advanced at that time.
Oh yeah. No, the guy who pioneered specifically the bottom surgery for trans men figured out how to grow the penis because of his work during World War One as a surgeon for soldiers who had like their limbs blown off. And he figured out like if you take pieces of the body parts and you like attach them to the skin in a specific way, it will just continue growing in that shape. And he figured out that like on the shoulder, I think it was, is like if you put like a little tube of skin, it will just get thicker and thicker and thicker until it eventually resembles a penis.
That's phalloplasty, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they like connect all of the nerves to different spots.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's like, it literally just grows on your body as a part of your body. And then we do like a little bit of cosmetic shit after the fact to
wow.
make it look more like a penis.
Yeah.
And not just like a tube of skin that we grew on
Yeah.
your shoulder.
Yeah.
Shit's wild.
And
This
then
shit is wild.
men are so weird about having a giant dick too. Like I remember like I was looking on this Reddit subreddit. There were trans guys showing off like their bottom surgery, and there was one guy where I'm like, men are delusional because it was just like so huge. So I could imagine before they could make it look like a penis, it would just look like a giant tube of skin. Because this guy had, it was like the fucking shit you see in porn. I'm like, bro, come on. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. But so because of these very early on hormones, trans women they were not passing. So they had to get official transvestite cards, which was like a medical note from a doctor, so that they wouldn't be arrested if they went out in public and were dressed femme, and they would show it to the cops and be like, I actually have a doctor's note that I'm allowed to dress like this because I have a condition. And they'd be like, oh, I guess we won't.
If
like,
they just got
throw you
rid
in the
of
concentration
stupid
camps.
gender roles back then, they wouldn't have had that problem. But they had
Literally.
to keep it all. It's
Exactly.
We're still fighting the same fight today.
Yeah. So of course the big issue that comes around in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, the challenge to these ideas that are starting to like pioneer this new type of medicine, the acceptance of trans people, the understanding that it's a biological condition, is the birth of psychology. Psychology, again, all of the founders of psychology are Nazis. All of
Yeah.
the original psychologists, if they weren't like members of the party, they believed all the same shit. They believed in eugenics. They believed that, we should be doing all these things to like fix broken-minded people who experienced a trauma. They're just useless now. Like we should be choosing who's allowed to procreate so that we can get rid of the bad genes. Like they were just drawing conclusions based on nothing. It was entirely vibes.
Yeah.
So psychologists sought to differentiate themselves from medical doctors by seeking purely mental causes for illnesses. They're like, rather than looking at the body at all, we're just going to look at the mind as a completely separate entity and pretend that that alone, even though the mind is a part of the body and is literally just processing information sent to it by the body,
Yeah.
which would lead you to assume that if you're feeling some type of way, the body is telling you to feel that way.
Yeah.
Psychologists were like, no. We're not going to look at any of that. We're just going to look at your childhood and determine if you were a victim of CSA, and then therefore you're trans.
And I bet most kids were a victim of CSA back
Yeah,
then.
most kids were.
Because they probably didn't have an age of consent. Like child marriage was very common.
There were still countries in the world that were like legally permitting brothals and shit.
Yeah, where they could do whatever to underage kids that were just
Specifically brothels where you could children.
like actual sex trafficking victims. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
More recent psychology work has actually shown that the mind and the brain of trans people is different. So like there actually is a physical thing, but of course most psychologists are looking at that and being like, well, how do we cure it? Rather than like, oh, I guess it's just different. Like, it's unfortunately still so many psychologists' goal to like cure their patients of their illness, which at the time being trans was just considered a mental illness.
Yeah.
By the new thinkers in psychology, not by the original researchers who sort of discovered
Realized,
it.
oh,
and
this is a
pioneered.
physiological thing that
Right.
needs to be,
Exactly.
treated. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, psychology worked with the Nazis. They tossed out all of the research that had been done on our bodies and our biology. They burned it.
White supremacists are the fucking worst and ruin everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first building burned by the Nazis before World War II started was the Hirschfeld Clinic. They got rid of all his research. And then psychologists got to write the narrative, decided trans people are created by childhood trauma or just being a pervert. Like, oh, it's either just a fetish for you or you were victimized. Those are the only possible explanations.
We did an episode on autogynephilia, by the way, and why it's bullshit. Go watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do go watch that.
Yeah.
And as I've said on this show before, when specifically Nazi Germany fell, the ideology did not go away. Project Paperclip was a CIA-backed United States government mission to bring over Nazi doctors and scientists to the United States so that they could continue their work, so that they could influence American politicians with their beliefs. And America didn't take much convincing because America largely agreed with Germany on most of their hateful shit.
The Nazis got a lot of their torture ideas from our country with slavery.
Yeah.
We're like some of the OG white supremacist pieces of
It wasn't just the
fucking
torture
shit.
ideas, it was the way to write laws to be able to get away with just oppressing
And manipulate
and
people.
imprisoning people.
Yeah, we're just a big experiment
Yeah.
for being pieces of fucking shit. It's embarrassing.
Yep.
Being an American is embarrassing.
100%. We get to the 1940s and 1950s. You've heard of Alfred Kinsey?
I don't think so.
You've heard of the Kinsey scale.
Yes, but I don't recall what it means.
So the Kinsey scale, it's widely misunderstood,
Okay.
at least based on what he originally interpreted it as. Like, when people talk about it now, it's the scale from like 1 to 7 that labels like how homosexual are you. Like if you're like a 1, you're heterosexual. If you're a 7, you're fully homosexual. If you're any of the numbers in between, you're like, you lean one way or the other. If you're like a 4, you're bisexual.
Okay, yeah.
Right? It's just like,
Them trying to measure how gay you are.
literally, yes.
The gay scale.
Yes. But it's also an understanding that it is a scale, that you can be bisexual.
There's a spectrum,
That you can be a little bit gay. You can be a little bit straight, you know? Like,
Yeah.
he sort of pioneered this idea, but his idea was not how gay are you? It was how much gay sex do you have? So a 1 was, I don't have gay sex. And a 7 was, I only have gay sex.
Okay.
But you could be 100% homosexual and rate a 1 on the scale if you just didn't partake.
Okay.
So like his original thing, like nowadays we view it as like internally, how do you feel? How gay are you? When he originally developed it, it was just like, he was just measuring. He'd ask people like, how often do you have gay sex? And they'd be like, oh, very rarely. And he'd be like, but sometimes? And they'd be like, I don't know, a couple times, you know, in college, whatever. And
Yeah.
you'd be like, okay, you're like a 1, you know, like,
Yeah.
or like a 2, right? People kind of misconstrue that. I misconstrued it until I read this book.
Okay.
So, but Alfred Kinsey, he was very binary in his thinking on gender. And he was another one of the early people who really wanted to figure trans people out. He spent the last like 10 years of his life just like obsessed with trans people. And he was like, I need to create the categorization method for trans people. It needs to be my name on the thing, the Kinsey scale of transgenders, you
Yeah.
know? And he was unable to do so. He really wanted it to be like trans people are assigned one gender at birth, and then they want to fully switch all the way to the opposite gender. But the more he was hanging out in the gay communities and meeting actual trans people, the more frustrated he was getting that no two trans people really seemed all that similar to each other. And it like really
Because
pissed him
they're
off.
not. Yeah.
Yes. He was like,
Trans people are just people.
literally, there's
Yeah.
as much diversity in trans people as any other group of people.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Yeah. I also feel like based on how he determined the spectrum of sexuality too, because he's asking people if they've slept with somebody of the
Right.
same gender, and it's like there are
He
people.
he got the scales confused.
Yeah, well, it's also like you can't determine if somebody is gay based on who they've slept with, because there's plenty of gay people that haven't slept with the same gender. A lot of people
Exactly.
stay in the closet and don't even
Yeah.
bother.
Or there's like closeted trans people I would have rated as fully heterosexual, despite the fact that I am in fact fully homosexual because I've only slept with women. But he wouldn't have known I was a
Yeah,
woman.
he wouldn't have even-
So
yeah.
he would have just been like, great, you're
Yeah.
you're a 1. You're
Yeah.
the most heterosexual man alive.
Yep. Then he would have broke his brain because you're a lesbian, so he would have
Yeah.
been like, wait.
Yeah, it was like nothing's making sense.
If you
anymore.
were like out as trans and he tried to talk to you, he would
Yeah.
have been like, what?
he probably would have rated me still fully heterosexual because he wouldn't have
Yeah.
actually seen me as a woman. Probably. You
Yeah.
know, this is very early days.
Was he talking to like trans people that were like openly like dressing as the gender that they
Yes.
are? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
He was hanging out in a lot of gay bars.
Okay.
He and a
yeah.
few of his other colleagues at the time were just like, every night after they like clocked out of the doctor's office, they would go down to the gay bars and be like, "Can I interview you? Can you fucking talk to me? What's going on here?" Like they were
What's
obsessed.
this weird straight cis
Yes.
doctor doing in our bar right now?
Yeah. But he was like nice to everyone, so they pretty much like let him hang out.
Yeah, and he's trying to
Yeah.
like make sense of it so people are accepting. I like at the time I probably would have been on board
100%,
too.
yeah. Like,
you
maybe
know?
we can get this guy to understand. And like they
Yeah.
couldn't.
I would have really broke the guy's brain.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
100%.
He would have been like, "What?"
So Kinsey was also a mentor to Harry Benjamin, who was a man who founded
Harry Benjamin. Sorry, the name.
Harry Benjamin. Harry Benjamin founded an organization called the Harry Benjamin International Gender Dysphoria Association, which today is called the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, or WPATH.
Oh.
Yes, you've certainly seen WPATH.
Yes, I have.
Cited, quoted, whatever, because they're basically the leading experts in the world today.
I'm gonna think of Harry Benjamin every time now.
Harry Benjamin,
Harry Benjamin.
who trained under Alfred Kinsey, founded the clinic, and now we have what we have. So throughout the 1900s, several different organizations, including the Harry Benjamin Association, considered themselves to be the experts on trans people. They were like, we're the ones. If you want to know about trans people, you come to us. Notably, 0 of these organizations had any trans people working at them. There were no trans people on the board. It was just cis dudes, largely, almost exclusively at the time, who were like, we have done the research. Trust us.
Of course.
And they were responsible for setting the guidelines for how to treat transgender patients. Around this time, there had started to be some like semi-famous stories of trans people who like came to America and had like switched their genders, and people were really curious about it. And like people, it started becoming a little bit more mainstream in the 50s. And so all of a sudden everyone's, they want to be ahead of the curve. They're trying to make a name for themselves in medicine. So they're starting these organizations, and they're now the experts in trans medicine. Suddenly overnight, basically you just had to call yourself it. And it was true.
yeah.
So building off of Alfred Kinsey's work, the early guidelines for treating trans patients all assumed that trans people were this very specific subsection of trans people, which was people who were fully binary and wanted to fully transition all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Anyone who fell anywhere else on the spectrum was considered not trans. So all of the stipulations for approving someone for treatment for trans medicine at the time required you to fit these ridiculously strict restrictions.
So you had to be a binary trans person to be considered as such. Is that what that means?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, if you want to transition all the way to the other end, if you want to be the exact polar opposite of what you are, and you fill all these other requirements, then we will treat you. But if you're like, I don't know, I kind of want to head that direction. I want to transition a little, but I don't want the surgery. They'd be like,
Or
well,
like,
then get
what
the
if you're
fuck
like,
out
it
of my
changes
office.
constantly?
If it changes, they'd be like, get the fuck out of here. You're not trans.
Yeah, this is what I say about like anybody that's in the middle of the spectrum of anything, sexuality or gender. I feel like because we want people to fit on one end of the spectrum, so that way we can have the majority straight people. I really think it's about like numbers for them. I really think it's about like, well, like not everyone can transition or be gay, because then we won't have like cis straight people that are having more babies. So
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
they deny the middle of the spectrum. Like I don't think the middle of the spectrum is more oppressed than binary people on like sexuality or gender, but I do think there is a pushback even from people on the binary of that to be like, no,
Yes.
because the people at the top are parasite class, it would ruin their entire little like thing.
Yeah. If there's 50 genders instead of 2, you can't just be like,
Yeah.
this one's in
Or
charge
if we
naturally.
don't have gender roles where like
we
if
don't
you're
have gender
AFAB
roles.
and maybe a cisgender woman, you have to like fit into this narrative because it sucks cis women into heterosexual marriage where they make more babies for them.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what a lot of this is.
literally what patriarchy is. That is
Yeah.
the defining element of patriarchy.
Yeah.
So the person who sort of proposed, it was a combination of Harry Benjamin and this other guy, Reed Erickson,
Okay.
who proposed the original treatment guidelines for trans people. Reed Erickson is a trans man.
Okay.
And he founded the Erickson Educational Foundation.
I think I've heard of this guy.
You might
Continue.
have, yeah, you might have.
I've heard of this guy. Yeah.
So he operated this foundation for 16 years. His sole goal was to spread the story of trans people and change the narrative away from that we were perverts or,
Yeah.
victims of trauma,
Yeah.
and that we were just normal people.
Yeah.
And so he spent 16 years. His foundation eventually closed, but that was his mission in
His life goal. Yeah.
Yet, because he had transitioned in a very specific way and it had worked for him, he decided that the things that he had done should apply to trans women as well.
Man, I swear to God. Look, if you're a trans guy watching this, I'm not dissing you as an individual, but I have noticed that trans men do a misogyny to trans women a lot.
I've also experienced
And
it a lot.
and it's not even always
Not
in
all
the
of them.
Not all of them.
Gotta make sure I say that.
And I would say most trans men are a lot better than cis men because they've experienced like being perceived as female, but also they do this thing to trans women where it's like, they try to do the patriarchy thing a little bit. I've noticed it's a thing.
Yep.
Of like, this works for me and it's simple for me, so we're just gonna apply that to you, and like you could just shut up and I'm the man. Like,
Yeah, literally.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Are you ready to hear the requirements to be approved for treatment to get any kind of transgender care?
What are the requirements this guy put on?
The first one is you need at least 3 months of expensive psychotherapy and a diagnosis that there is no other possible solution to your problem than transitioning.
Okay.
Stipulation 2, if you want surgery, it's 6 months of the
Okay.
expensive therapy.
Okay.
3, you have to have, this is a requirement, you have to have a persistent desire to cut off your own genitals. If you don't have that, sorry, you're out. You have to have that. Stipulation 4.
This is the most man thing I've ever heard. Come on.
Stipulation 4, extensive physical examinations to check for anything else going on, maybe you're intersex, whatever. An IQ test. You have to pass at a certain level of IQ. Yeah, I know. 6?
When people try to argue like trans men aren't men and trans women aren't women, like look at these people, like trans women are women, and look at this shit. Trans men are fucking men. Like, come on. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, this is a very specific type of man, an educated man who believes that educated people are inherently superior, and only someone really smart could even know that they're actually trans. Like, gender is only an intelligence-based thing.
And I bet he thought he was the most intelligent man on the planet. Yeah.
I bet he did. You also needed to undergo a psych evaluation to make sure that you weren't like a loony who needed to be locked up in one of the loony bins and lobotomized. And you also needed proof that you had already been socially transitioned for at least a year. That
Okay.
worked for him because it's easier for trans dudes to pass.
Masculinity is not as sexualized or demonized
Yes.
as femininity.
Yes.
So,
and if you've
yeah.
been through a testosterone-based puberty, it's a lot harder to pass. So for trans women, this stipulation is significantly more dangerous for you. But because it worked for him, he decided, well,
it works for me, so it'll work for all
it
of
should
you
work,
bitches.
it should
Yeah.
work for women as well. And if you can't do it, then you're just not cut out to be trans.
Because I know that's how you did your transition
I did.
originally, huh?
Yeah.
You did social trans, and you like some of the stories you've told me. I'm like, holy fucking shit.
People
Some of
are pretty awful.
yeah, because we hate femininity.
Yeah.
That's
Are you thinking of like the guy who tried to set me on fire?
yeah.
Yeah.
Other things too, but like
yeah.
that's
That's
one of
always
them.
like the first one that comes to my mind.
Me too, yeah. Or like, so women have been allowed, just women in general, like for 100 years, it has been legal for women to wear pants. There was societal pushback when it first became legal.
There sure was.
There was, but like we're at a place now where bitches wear pants every day. I haven't worn a skirt or a dress in I don't know how long.
I wear pants all the time.
Yeah, literally,
I love
like
pants.
yeah, like bitches can wear pants now. Like men can wear skirts. It's not illegal. They can wear skirts and dresses, but like if they do, they get a lot of societal
You will be
pushback.
attacked.
And this is 100 years later, and it's not because men are more oppressed. It's because femininity is demonized. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. God bless this guy, by the way.
Yes.
You know,
super
God bless
grateful.
him.
Super grateful for Reed Erickson.
Yeah.
Also, you fucked over a lot of trans women.
Yeah. Also that, like,
You also helped us in so many ways.
that's why we have to get rid of misogyny. We have to get rid of this whole system because, like, women tend to, like, lead shit a little bit better. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Women do better. Like,
So they think of everybody.
yeah.
And men just think about men.
Yeah. Things are less complex for men too,
Yeah.
you know?
There were many leading experts at the time who wanted the social transition extended to 3 years, but it was only officially a recommendation that you had to undergo a year for 1 year, like as part of the like trans guidelines.
Okay.
There was 1 year that it was officially recommended.
Uh-huh.
Then they revoked it, but all the doctors didn't change it.
They still were like, if you
Yeah.
want treatment
It
from
wasn't
me, they
in the
gate kept
it wasn't in the requirements.
It wasn't law, but it
but
was still gate kept.
Many of these doctors were like, "Well, I think
And
you
I bet
should."
they were all dudes.
Yeah.
Trans or cis, they were still dudes, I bet.
Because these guidelines are so strict and because there are very few doctors in the world capable of even diagnosing you, right? There's not a lot of experts. So everyone has to go to these same few guys. And that basically meant that all trans people were fully at the mercy of their doctor. Because literally one guy got to decide whether or not you transition or not. So this led to a lot of very uncomfortable situations for a lot of people. Because, as you can imagine, a lot of these doctors were openly transphobic. Right? A lot of them actually hated trans people and were like, look, I'll help you become a fucking freak if you want to, but you got to prove to me that you're like mentally unwell and it's the only fucking thing you can.
Oh, so that's where the stigma around, like, if you're trans, you're mentally sick comes from.
Yeah.
That checks. This is the if we get rid of misogyny as a whole, this what, because, like, I could imagine those guys also just hate cis women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Like, why would you want to do this? You must be unwell.
Yeah.
That's
the way we treated cis women for, like, in psychology was we're gonna fucking stick a needle in their brain so they're like a zombie because we don't want to deal with, you know. So I would imagine, for trans people, they would kind of treat them as like less than. It's the hierarchy.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of that shit.
It's exactly what we were talking about with the projection last week when or a couple weeks ago, whenever that was, when it's like what they're like, what? Well, why would I?
Because I would be crazy.
Because I would have to be insane.
It's projection.
It's the only possible explanation.
Yeah.
And like,
and then they look down on those people.
Exactly.
Because I'm a cis white man and like I'm perfect, so everyone else is beneath me. That's the mentality.
Yeah. So
I wonder what it was like for like trans people of color trying to get treatment. I wonder if they didn't really get it because because black people weren't allowed into the medical field at the same rate at all.
Because this is all in the 60s. This is like during and before the civil rights era. And all the experts are white dudes. Yeah, they were not able to transition.
Also, most of the trans people that are like older from like the 70s and 80s that are still alive today, they're white trans people because either like they didn't, like black and brown trans people of color that were trans did not get treatment. And if they did, they got killed.
Yep.
I feel like a crazy person when I talk about this. Like I need a yarn chart, but it's just like, Jesus.
When you look at the big picture, it's fucking crazy. As you can also imagine, the only other type of doctor who got into transgender medicine were fetishists.
Of course they were creeps, yeah.
So it was either people who were like, I hate women and I think you're freaks and I think you should die, but anyway, here's your medicine.
Yeah.
Or it was people who were like, I'll help you transition if you let me fuck you. Like, so a lot of early trans people were only able to get their medication and go through with the transition if they agreed to be sexually exploited by their doctors.
Which that checks out like I mean, also on a society level, no one would hire them in general, but like a lot of trans people and especially trans women got into sex work back then. I do know that. So
very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's disgusting. This is why I don't go to male doctors.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them are great. Nope, I'm good.
So
this episode's pissing me off.
Oh yeah, no, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
Doing this research, it took me like weeks to read through this whole book, and like every chapter, I'm just like, oh my
like the
God.
suffering
Just
that
thinking back to the
put
people who,
so
like,
many different people through.
Yeah. If I was alive back then, I wouldn't have transitioned. I just would have been like, it's not worth it. Fuck it. you know?
And they wonder why there's no like older trans people. Not only did most of them get killed, but also most of them like
Most
the
of them are
fucking
gate kept out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to do all of this. Like I would have fucking just killed myself too.
Yeah. So, 1980s, we have a researcher named Peggy Cohen Ketnes. She is running a medical practice and treating some trans
God
patients.
bless her. We got a bitch in the fucking business. Hell yeah.
So this is in the 80s. I believe she was working in the Netherlands.
Okay.
She decided to do the first ever study on patient outcomes because the men in the field had never thought to ask whether it worked. They were diagnosing people because they were asking for it. They were giving people treatment. No one had ever researched, is this working? Are people happier?
Yeah.
What's going on? So it wasn't until the 80s that somebody, a woman, was like, I'm curious if what we're doing is working.
Yeah.
So she runs a study and she finds that with HRT alone, there is still a suicide risk, but it is decreased. And patients were, on the whole, happy with the treatment and had no regrets. She was like, okay, that feels good. That feels like we're doing a good thing here. All the patients are happy. She sends this research out, and the medical journals all refuse to publish the study.
Because they're all run by men, right?
Even up through the 90s, she's shared like some of the old rejection letters she got. And they're literally, it would say things like, look, if we treat trans people as human, it would destroy our reputation. We cannot be seen treating trans people as human.
And
so they just flatly, they were like, we don't care that the medicine's working.
Did they say that?
Yes.
Like,
that's a verbatim quote. That's a verbatim quote from a letter.
Oh, I hate living on this planet. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
If we treat human beings like human beings, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with the world.
Yeah. They were like, we just simply cannot.
If somebody is different, we do, like, just humans in general, if you're different from me, I'm not going to treat you like a fucking human being.
It's infuriating.
Like, that's what's wrong with the world.
It's infuriating. And all the men making the decisions.
It's not even just with trans people. It's with all demographics you could think of.
Yeah.
This applies to race. This applies to sexuality. This applies to like different nationalities, gender.
Yeah.
And it's cis white men that push these narratives and fucking latch onto that.
Yeah. So there's been research. There's been again and again in the 1890s there was research saying this is a biological condition. The men destroyed the research. In the 80s there was research saying this treatment helps people. They refused to publish it. So we get into,
and this is around when we got Reagan. So now they're really pushing hard to fucking get. It's not going to work though. They're losing.
Yeah.
They're going to lose.
And then we have the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, and they're like, we just won't mention it, and maybe hopefully they all die.
And
maybe
then
hopefully they all die. That would be cool.
You know what's fucked about? They used the HIV. They used that as propaganda to demonize trans women and gay men. And they acted like, oh, well, you get this for like having perverse, like homosexual sex and like not being.
And there are still Christians today who believe that HIV was a punishment for their sinful lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, like I grew up being told that.
And straight people get it too. Cis women get it too. Like you can get.
But the stigma, if you get it, they're like, well, then you must have had gay sex because that's the gay disease. You can only get it if you're gay.
Yeah. Or if you're a cis woman and you get it, it's like, well, your male partner must have like had some gay sex. Like they always pin it on the LGBT community.
Literally always.
To this day. And there's even like you can go on PrEP for it now.
Yeah.
And like
we've all but cured it. But then the Trump-Kennedy administration is trying to ban the medication that treats it.
Yeah,
Like,
because
so
they wanted to
clearly
kill us all.
They're like, well, maybe we don't have to round them all up. That's a lot of money and a lot of
just
resources.
kill them by like not
what if
giving
we
them
just take away the medicine that treats HIV?
Yeah. Yep, that's what a lot of the Maha shit is. It's like them trying to do Nazi Germany, but in a less like brutal and blatant way. Is like, oh, well, like stop vaccinating your children. You know, stop giving medications. Let's cut Medicaid.
Let everyone die of
It's trying
disease.
to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally their entire goal.
So the propaganda around HIV. I just want to say this real fast. We'll tag her on the video. We'll like put her up there. There's this trans girl I follow, Kale Sonio.
Okay.
I love her. She's really fucking funny. She's hilarious. I mostly follow her because she's just fucking funny. But she has HIV and she like talks about it openly.
Sure.
And she'll get the fucking nastiest comments from people like, why are you even having sex with people, and like, you're nasty, you shouldn't find someone. And she's always like, man, fuck you and my HIV status, like, I'm still getting laid, I ain't passing it to anybody, like, fuck you, you know. But
Yeah.
the stigma from the 80s is so strong that people to this day don't understand you can get on medication so you don't spread it and it keeps you from dying. I hate this planet. Why do we have to share the planet with stupid people?
I'm just hoping I'm here for the fall of all that shit, and we get to see the birth of the new
We're
thing.
gonna see the fall of it. We're
Yeah.
gonna be fucking ancient by the
Yeah,
time
I
shit
know,
gets
I know.
good.
But at least we'll see the glimmer of hope in the future.
Fuck it.
you
I want
know?
to be dead by 60. I don't want to fucking, like, I wanted
Like-
to have a good time now. Like, my whole life
Yeah.
has been a suffering, fucking never ending cycle of suffering. Like,
Yep.
whatever. Whatever.
So anyway, it isn't until 1999 that trans people are finally added to the board that are making the decisions for the official guidelines to treat trans people.
Okay.
1999, they finally get trans people on the board. And as soon as trans people are added to the board, a bunch of the cis dude doctors just refuse to renew their membership to whatever medical establishment thing is like doing this. They're like, we're not going to listen to them.
Yeah.
What do they know about it? And they're like, it's literally my life. Like, I literally experienced it. What are you talking about? But since then, we've sort of started to have this slow push towards acceptance. And then obviously there's been this massive pushback since Trump and all this other shit. But it was trans people being added to the board in 1999. And then in 2001, most of the deciders were trans or allies, like people who, because all the transphobic people refuse to be a part of it anymore. And so now it's like cis people who are like, well,
are like, no.
why don't you tell me what I should recommend?
Yeah.
And the trans people are like, wow, thank you for fucking listening to me for the first time ever in my life.
Which is sad. Like, if you guys follow me on TikTok, like, my whole TikTok account is me basically parroting what trans people are saying and citing studies about this being genuine.
Your
and
first
it saves
100
people-
videos was just saying shit that I told you 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, literally. And like,
Because if I said the same shit, people would just be like, well, I don't have to listen to you. You're fucking mentally ill. Like,
yeah. If I was like, I'm trans and like you watched the same video, you wouldn't listen to me. But because I'm cis, you listen to me. You know what I mean? It's crazy how like people, it's the same thing with like men will only listen to men about misogyny, or like white people will only listen to other white people about racism. And I know that's a thing because I've talked to racist white people before and checked them, and I'm like all of their rebuttals are, well, like, oh, they're so sensitive. And then I'm checking them about that. I'm like, no, there is a trauma that comes with like being a person of color in this country. I'll like check them on it. And I'm like, I know that people of color have told you this, or at the very least, you've seen videos online of people of color telling you this and you've ignored them. And now you're kind of listening to me because I'm also white. Why aren't you listening to the people experiencing it? It's fucking stupid.
it is.
It's fucking stupid.
It is. It's infuriating.
My TikTok content would be a lot more fun if you guys would just follow some trans people and listen to them. But whatever.
No disagreement here.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 2022 that transsexualism was removed from the mental illness category of the International Classification of Diseases.
Yeah, we got the DSM like second version of 5.
Well, this is a different thing. This is the International Classification of Diseases.
Oh.
The DSM was a little earlier, but
Okay, it was around the same time that they made it. So gender dysphoria specifically was just a condition.
because the
It wasn't
DSM
like
is a manual for psychologists. This is a classification of diseases that exist in the world.
so it was
spread
still
globally.
like known as a disease.
It was known as a
That's
mental
crazy.
illness until 2022, which is
Yeah.
2 years after I It's fucking insane.
Yeah, the timeline is wild.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like how my life fucking lines up with all the work that all these other trans people have been doing for centuries to try to open the door for me to be able to sit here
To exist.
and look like this and talk like this and do this shit.
Yeah. And
It's
inject yourself with
overwhelming when I think
estrogen
about it.
badly
Yes.
once a week.
Yeah, literally twice a week.
Or twice a week. Buy that.
Yep.
Either way, sometimes you miss and then it bleeds and you're like, fuck.
Yes, that too often. The last like 4 injections have been great though.
No,
No blood. Pretty
I
happy
won't
about
jinx
that.
it. Knock
Yep.
on wood.
Yep.
I shouldn't be talking shit.
Okay. So because this episode is going long, which I assumed it would,
All of ours do.
always, especially when I have 4 pages of notes. We are going to get into the history of HRT for kids and when we started using hormone blockers and HRT for children next week.
Yes.
So come back if you were interested in learning about that. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history of trans medicine sort of generically, but I know people are going to be interested in how and why did we start giving the medicine to kids? Is it
Yeah.
safe? What's going on here? So part 2 next week.
Yep.
And
Also, check out our Patreon.
check out our Patreon.
Follow us on Patreon.
It's super lit over there.
We just did a Get Ready With Me. We do Magic the Gathering games. We
so
do
fun.
random chats. We
Random
talked about fourth
chats.
dimensional beings.
Yeah. You basically just get to
Bloopers.
hang out with us more if you like us. There's a lot less researchy stuff, but
Yes.
just come be our friends.
Just us hanging
Just
out.
join the friend tier.
Join the friends.
Be our friends.
Be our friends.
We love friends.
We love friends.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
Send us an email.
Send us an email.
LadyandTheTransPodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a review on a podcast app.
Yes.
It's blowing my mind that we don't have any reviews on podcast apps.
We need more
it's
reviews.
It's like low key upsetting.
Tell us how much you love us
I'm not
there.
like that upset, but I'm like confused. I guess people don't really like do podcasts the same way they used to. But like anyway, doesn't matter. We love you. We're so happy you're here.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, comment. We'll see you next
Thanks
week.
for listening and watching.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Lady and the Trans Podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science.